Welcome everybody once again to BIZ NFL Football 2019. Week number 12 is here. 2/3 into the season. We're having a great year rolling. We're like 87 and 50, 3 pushes. 88 wins after last night's under winner on the Houston-Indianapolis game. Last week I blasted Travis and all the haters. Kind of took it a little too far. Travis sent me a text this week where he showed me $8,000 worth of winners that said hashtag dipshit handicapping. I said I would toast his winners on my next video. Then he called me a name I didn't care for. We got into a text exchange that went downhill quickly. Said some things that weren't very cool at all. And I want to apologize to Travis publicly, and hopefully when I get a chance to privately contact him, I can apologize properly. That wasn't cool of me last week to do that, nor was it cool to have that exchange with him over the texting this week. So 100% that was all on me, all on Biz. Not my finest moment, but one of the things that you could do is admit when you screw up, and that's something I did with Travis. I also admit when I screw up with football picks. I certainly have my flaws, but one flaw I don't have is picking NFL games. 87, 50, and 3. 88 after last night's win. Friday afternoon here. I want to get this out on Friday. I spent my morning. I'm a little lacking energy. I went to the DMV today early in the morning. Had to renew my license. My birthday is next Wednesday, the 27th. Turning 56 years old, for Christ's sake. All of you young bastards out there, enjoy your youth. It goes quickly. November 27th, my birthday, also the birthday of Jimi Hendrix. So November 27th is filled with greatness. The tradition I have is waking up in the morning, smoking a fat one, listening to Purple Haze. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Hope you enjoy your holidays next week. This week we have NFL football. I got Biz best bets. Stewie's got a best bet. The Florida Pete Biz combo play is there. There's no stinker this week. I couldn't find an awful team to bet. But we have plenty of action. Totals, sides. Got a DGen special Sunday night. Got some Monday night action for you. All coming up here on the BIZ NFL Week number 12 video. And as always, thanks to Eddie Money kicking us off here on a Friday afternoon. Alright, let's go into last week's picks. I'll tell you, I handicapped a whole lot better than what the results were money-wise. 8-5, but we only picked up some crumbs because my best bets and 2 unit plays were just terrible. Very, very disappointing. I wouldn't say they were terrible. We just lost. We just went 1-3, and well, let's just get into it. Did you see the record for the season? 11 weeks, 87, 50, and 3, 28.6 units, 63.5%. As I said, we hit last night's winner on the under, so it's 88, 50, and 3, 29 units. Let's get into last week's plays. We had the under in that Carolina Falcon game, first half and the game. Never really in doubt. Jacksonville Colts first half under was a winner. Easily. The game under, the first of our awful beats. Late touchdown by the Jaguars. They convert 3rd and 12 to keep that drive going. They score a touchdown with less than a minute. Clip us 33-13. Lose that by 3 points. Jets, Washington, 2 shitty teams go over. Talked last week about that game. Had a guy I really respect, Jack, in my room. Talked about the Redskins, slow pace, hand the ball off. Jets are slow paced. Said, I know, dude, but you know what? This system is money. And it's going to go over, and it went over by 2 touchdowns. New Orleans, Tampa Bay, Stewie's best bet. I'm going to cut him some slack on this. We lost by a point as Jameis Winston once again just coughs the ball up. Throws a pick six with 4 minutes to go, 4 or 5 minutes to go. Throws a pick six. We lose by a point. Teaser, Jacksonville, Buffalo. Just an awful decision. I was torn between Jacksonville and the Jets, and why I didn't take the Jets, I'll never effing know. I took Jacksonville with Foles off of a 2-month layoff, and it showed. Awful decision. Because I thought Buffalo was basically a free square as far as teasers went. We did connect it with Dallas, so we chopped the teasers. The BIZ best bet, also known as the stinker of the week, the Cardinals. Never really in doubt if you got 11. If you guys waited and got 10 or even 9.5, that line was 10.5 when I put this video out on Saturday. It was also 11 when I believe I put this pick out on my distribution list earlier in the week. So if you got 10 on game day, or God forbid 9.5, man, you got nobody to blame but yourself. Just a horrific beat. You know what happened. Not even going to talk about it. The triple combo under was terrible. Just never really was going to win. Bengals, Raiders under. Easy winner. And why I didn't make that a 2-unit play, I'll never ever know. That game had 2 systems that were just sick. Just so good. Easy winner, the Pats and Eagles under. Another easy winner, the same 17-10 score. And we wrapped it up with another 2-unit loser. The DGen special Sunday night. That was a tough loss. We got 7 earlier in the week. That closed at 5. And because once again, Eddie Pinheiro can't kick a goddamn field goal, we lose. These guys had the ball 3 times at the 31-yard line in the first half and came away with nothing. 2 missed field goals. 4th and 9 and Nagy goes for it. And then the next time you're down there, you kick a field goal and you attempt to field goal and he misses. I'll never. 3 trips inside the 35, the 31, no points. Very, very, very frustrating loss. So 8-5, a really nice win-loss record, but 1-3 on the 2-unit plays really ate into the profits, and as you see, just a fraction of a unit. But it's not shaded in red, it's shaded in green, so you know, it is what it is. Okay. Through 11 weeks, we're 87, 50, and 3, 20.6 units, 63.5% on 130 plays. So let's get on with this week's action. First game we're gonna look at here is the Panthers and the Saints. This game is at 47. It opened 48. We've got several systems here. As you see, the divisional game under. We've had this many times this year. I don't think I really need to go over this anymore. We had both of these last week. The divisional game unders right there, and you see the one in blue. This is a really nice system. It's a team that was previously a road favorite, the Saints, that had a positive turnover margin. When you play Jameis Winston, odds are you'll have a positive turnover margin because he'll cough it up 3 times. The opponent had a negative turnover margin, Carolina, who was just pathetically awful at home against the Falcons last week when we hit that under. And last year they were a playoff team, the Saints. On a good team. This system is 27-2. It's 3-0 this year, and it's gone under 26 consecutive times. We have 2 teams that score in the low 20s. Carolina scores 22 points a game. The Saints 23 points a game. You think of the Saints as some type of offensive juggernaut, and I know Brees hasn't played several games, but they are really a team that likes to run the ball. The Saints allow 20 points a game. The Panthers 25 and change. So combined, they give up around 45, 46 points. The only concern I have with this game is that the last 9 games at New Orleans, 8 overs and 1 under. So that is a concern. But those games were played with Cam Newton. This is Kyle Allen. And, you know, the more he plays, the more they have film on him, the more they could game plan for him. So despite that 8-1 over mark the last night in New Orleans, I'm going to take this under. I'm going to trust these systems. I'm going to trust that the defensive coordinators have kind of figured out Kyle Allen a little bit, could limit what he does. Hopefully the Saints can continue to run the ball, grind the clock, and this game can finish under 47. So our first play this week is going to be the Panthers and the Saints to go under the total of 47. Our next play is the Lions and Redskins under 41.5. I think this is down to 40.5. I've got a system here of a home dog of 2.5 or more. The Skins, they have an awful point differential, no shock. It's game 4 or more. We want game 4 or later, so you have a decent amount of games to calculate that point differential, and it's a conference game. It's 61-21. Historically, it's 4-3-1 this year. Now, Washington with Haskins is just awful. I know they scored about 17 points last week against the Jets. Haskins is terrible. This team averages 12.5 points a game. Washington has had 6 consecutive unders before last week's over, when we did have that over. This system's really streaky. The previous 3 games on this system went over. It's also had some long streaks of unders. So I'm going to go ahead and play this game under. The line did drop, like I said, a point. Struggling offense. Natural grass. Might be a little weather this week. You got 2 backup quarterbacks. We're going to take this game to go under the total of 41.5. I gave this out this week, 41.5. It's currently 40.5. Take the under, Lions and the Redskins. All right, here is an overplay between the Raiders and the Jets. And this has got Florida Pete's favorite system down there. You see this top one, a team that's really has a poor yards per play average. They haven't gone under lately. I believe that would be the Jets that trigger that. It's 58-20, 9-6 this year. Also have a game taking the over where the previous game the team passed for 100 yards more than a season-to-date average, and it scored 27 or more, and it's a non-divisional turf game. That would also be the Jets that trigger this. And then this last system is the one that Florida Pete, he asks me about this every week. Every week he asks me, hey, when is that system with the teams that haven't played lately? And basically it's a team that was lousy last year, and they last played this team 3 or more years ago. So basically it's an interconference game. You play each division every 3 years. We had this earlier in the season. The Niners and Bengals, it flew over the total. It flew over the first half total. I think there's a couple of other games. I don't remember what they were, but they flew over the total. It's 36-0 historically. It's never lost. It's 3-0 this year. And this one's also good for the first half. These defenses on average combined to give up over 50 points. Jets secondary is not very good. They're a good run defense. They're not very good in secondary. The Raiders have a very banged up secondary. Last week it was a low scoring game, but that was a letdown spot after after a couple division games. They played the Bengals coming to town. The Jets have improved offensively, although it has been against the Redskins and the Giants. They've perked up a little bit with Sam Darnold. They did play a good game against the Cowboys at home. When they had Darnold, they scored 24 points. So we're going to take the Raiders and the Jets to go over the first half total of 23 and over the game total of 46. So first half over and full game Raiders, Jets to go over those totals. All right, we're back to the unders, Pittsburgh and the Bengals. Got a couple systems there. There's that same home dog system I just pointed out. Also, there's a nice team trend for the Steelers that's never gone over. It has 23 unders, no overs. It's 1-0 this year, and it's Pittsburgh when they're a road favorite or a dog to 3.5, and their opponent throws it a lot. They tend to lock down defensively against these types of teams, and it's never gone over the total. The total has dropped to 38.5. You got two teams that struggle to score, two teams with backup quarterbacks. The Bengals score 14 and change a game. Pittsburgh scores 20, they allow 20. Both these teams can't rush the ball. And combined this year, these teams are 6-13-1 to the total. Over-unders, 6 overs, 13 unders. We're going to take this game to be just an absolute slug of a game. Pittsburgh is really struggling to score, but their defense is playing well. Let's look for this game to go under the total, 38.5. Another under, the Falcons and the Buccaneers. This is probably my least favorite play of the week. You see, there's that divisional game under system again right there. It's 4-3 this year. It's another system here, an under system where the previous 2 games you allowed a lot of points, which would be Tampa Bay. The opponent has a poor scoring average, the Falcons. It's 66-26 historically. It's horrible. It's not horrible. It's not very good this year. It's 1-4. But the previous 5 years, this thing has gone 35-9. So again, these systems go in streaks. It'd be nice if it went 3 wins for every 1 loss forever, but they are streaky. There's some specific team things down here for the Falcons. The last 8 games, they're 0-8 to the under as a favorite when the previous 2 games went under. The Falcons off of a road win when they had a really good rushing defensive game, allowing 80 yards or less. They're 0-12 to the under last 12. Here's another little system. Previous dog of 3 or more that forced a lot of turnovers, 25-43 over under. Previous 3 games, you allowed a ton of points, 100 or more, 86-124 over under the last 10 years. Cause for concern is the last 6 games in Atlanta, 5 have gone over. These teams combined to give up 57 points on average. But there is a nice bet split on this game. 31% of the bets are on the under, but 52% of the money is on the under. So it's a nice bet split on the under. The line has dropped from the open of 53. It's currently 51. So we're going to take the under. I'm going to take the under 51 in this game, despite this 5-1 over trend in Atlanta when these teams play. A lot of things point to the under, and we're going to take the under 51. Let me grab something to drink here. I'm without my vodka today. Late afternoon. That's nothing to do with it, so I throw that in. No vodka today, just some water. All right. Dallas, New England, under 45.5. Now, I have one league-wide system up here, and then I have some little, what I call kind of mini trends, and a lot of these specific trends, like the previous game with Atlanta, where they have, they're 0-8, giving up rushing yards under 80, so on and so forth. Those by itself don't warrant a play. But when you could stack these systems on top of each other and build a case for a game, that's when these little mini trends really come in handy. Like I said, by themselves, in and of themselves, are not worth a play. You don't play a game because the team is 8 consecutive unders when they allow less than 80 yards rushing. But when you can stack multiple trends of a team or a league on top of each other, you could build a case to make a play. And here we have Dallas, New England, the under 45.5. I do have one nice system up here. It's the under when you have a previous road favorite. Last game they had a positive turnover margin. It's the same one I just talked about. I think that was that New Orleans, or not New Orleans, Tampa Bay, Atlanta, I think it was. Can't remember what it was. But it's 26 consecutive unders. Is a really, really nice system. And then here's several things I mentioned in previous weeks where I get the Killer Sports newsletter. They have a lot of good information. There are a lot of systems, a lot of analysis. I get it every week. And they had several factors that pointed to this game going under. The first one is road teams that have averaged more than 29 passes per game off of games a road favorite in which they converted at least 5 third downs. This system is 20-0 to the under the last 2 years. 20 consecutive unders the last 2 years when this has happened. The Cowboys, here's a specific trend for the Cowboys, who have gone under 11 consecutive times versus a non-divisional opponent. They're off a win, and they convert at least 5 third downs in each of the last 2 games. They're also 0-9 to the under, 9 consecutive unders as a dog on the turf when facing a team that had 4+ sacks in their last game. And you can see New England has a couple of trends, 11 straight unders off a road game. You guys could read these if you're in your car. Somebody says they're in their car, they listen, they can't read it, so I'll read this. New England has 11 consecutive unders off of a road game after a game in which they failed on at least one goal-to-go attempt. It's been active twice this season, and the Patriots allowed 7 and 10 points in each of those games. The Patriots are also 8 consecutive unders off a road game, facing a team that's averaging 13+ passing first downs per game. They've stayed under by 17 points per game. So you have these little mini trends. 45.5. New England gives up 10 points a game. Dallas 19.7. So both these defenses are really good scoring defenses. The Patriots are 9-19 to the under since 2018, and when the total is 46 or below, which this is, they're 2-9 to the under. And since 2016, when the total is 46 or below, which is a moderate total, they're 7-17 to the under. So the Patriots play a lot of unders when the total is in this range. So we're going to take the Cowboys and the Patriots to go under the total of 45.5. The Packers plus 3.5. This game was +3 at plus juice. I went ahead and bought a half and made the juice -115. I like getting that hook on a key number like that. Packers plus 3.5. It's a nice system here where we're going to play against a home team that was previously at home. They turned it over, and they were a bad team last year. 22-5, 2-1 this year. The Packers do well on the West Coast when they're a good team. 11-2. With Aaron Rodgers, they're 5-2. Let's look at the teams that these two teams have beaten. The Niners have beat Pittsburgh. Not very impressive when you see how their season's gone. And Mason Rudolph had just taken over for the Steelers after Ben got hurt. They beat Pittsburgh. They beat Cincinnati, who sucks. Tampa Bay, they suck. Arizona twice. I like Kyler Murray, but rookie head coach, rookie quarterback, beat them twice. They beat the Redskins. Horrible. They beat Cleveland. They beat the Rams, and they beat Carolina. The Rams are a good team. They went to the Rams and beat them when they were really playing well. And they just then they blew out Carolina when Carolina came to town. So they did beat the shit out of the Panthers, and they did beat the Rams. Let's look at the Packers. They beat Minnesota. They beat Dallas. They beat Oakland. They beat the Chiefs. No Mahomes, but they did go to Arrowhead and win. And they also beat Carolina. Albeit they didn't blow them out like the Niners did, but they beat them. I think the Packers have some much more impressive wins than the Niners. I'm not saying that they're going to outright beat them, but if I could get a field goal and a hook, I think that they could be competitive in this game. And the Niners are still a little banged up. They don't have D Ford. Quan Alexander's out for the year. I think George Kittle is coming back this week, which is good for Garoppolo. That is a security blanket. Devontae Adams is active for the Packers, and I'm going to take the Packers plus 3.5 to keep this close in what I think will be a high-scoring game, as we are also on the over of 47.5. As I mentioned, we're going to take the over. D Ford is out for the Niners. Quan Alexander, two key defenders for the 49ers. And I mentioned Kittle's coming back, probably. Adams is back. Nice weather. The weather will not be a factor at all. Let's look at some of these systems and trends that I mentioned. I said when you have multiple trends and systems and you stack them, you can build a case for a game. Here's one, a little mini trend. When a team trailed at halftime last week as a huge home favorite, the Niners, they came back to win and are laying points again. The games have gone 8-0 to the over. Doesn't happen often, obviously, but when it does, the next week, games have never gone under. It's 8-0 to the over. When you're off a bye week, the Packers, and you committed 10 or more penalties the previous week. So the game going into your bye week, you committed a ton of penalties. You come out of your bye, you've gone 50, 30, and 2 to the over. Green Bay has averaged 28 points on the West Coast when they're a winning team. With Aaron Rodgers, they're 26.1. So they tend to, when they're playing well and they come out west, they travel well, they score well, 28 points a game. So they can score out on the West Coast. A non-divisional home team off of 2 home divisional games with a total of 47.5 or more, 9-1-1 to the over, another little mini trend. That's the Niners. They played a couple of divisional games in a row. They played the Cardinals and they played the Seahawks. 2 games in a row, 2 division games. Now they're playing a non-divisional game. Division games tend to be lower scoring, although both those games went over, but they're very intense affairs, very hard fought, and now you're playing a team out of your division. There's no letdown, but the level of intensity isn't quite the same. It's hard to keep that intensity week after week after week after week. I mentioned teams that committed 10 plus penalties or more before I wrote that twice there. Aaron Rodgers in non-divisional conference road games, 23-12 to the over. Here's one specific to the 49ers. Teams that allowed 21 points or less per game, so you have a good defense, but recently they've struggled defensively. A team that's allowed 24 or more the previous 3 games. So a team that's good defensively, but they're in a little bit of a rut defensively previously. And the games on grass, 28-13 to the over. If you narrow that down to favorites up to 9 and dogs to 4, it's 22-6 to the over. Also, these teams, the Niners, are 9-18-1 against the spread, so that helps bolster our Green Bay pick also. So you have all these little trends. I have one league-wide system, but a lot of little mini systems that you can build a case to take the over. This opened 45.5. It's currently 47.5. We're going to take the Packers and Niners to go over the total of 47.5. I really like this total. I think there's going to be some scoring in this game, especially if Kittle is back. Adams will be back. Some defenders missing for the Niners. We're going to take the over 47.5. All right, the last game of the week is the Rams. Again, we're going to take the 3.5. They were also plus 3 with little juice. I think they were like plus 105. The minus 3 for the Ravens was really juice, so I bought the half again at minus 115. I'll take that hook in this game. Now, we have a couple systems here. We're going to play against a road favorite that previously had a big win, and it's a non-divisional game. The Ravens beat the living shit out of Houston the previous week. They've actually done it twice in a row. They beat the crap out of the Bengals 2 weeks ago. So they're off of 2 huge wins. It's 2-2 this year. It's 67-28 historically. 70%. Hold on. We're also we're also playing against a favorite that's a high-scoring team. The Ravens average around 30 points a game. Previous 2 games have had good defense. They allowed 7 to the Houston Texans. When they played the Bengals, they didn't score much either. When they scored 7, 10 points, whatever that was. Wasn't much. And their opponent was previously at home. The Rams is 29-9, 5-3 this year. When you look at the power ratings for this game, when you adjust for the home field, it should be a pick. This game is 3.5 points off of what the power ratings say this line should be. So the Rams are undervalued in this spot. This game should be closer to a pick. And I'm going to get to some line comparisons in a second. I just want to get to this other point real quick. Both these teams allow the same amount of points. Both really good defensively. They both allow less than 20 points a game, 19.6, 19.8. Baltimore loves to run the ball. They're the best rushing team in the league. The Rams only allow 89 yards a game rushing, 3 and change per attempt. The Rams really stop to run. And you got a defense that is good at what the other team likes to do. So I think the Ravens may have some troubles moving the ball in this game. It's a low total. Total is low for this game also. And getting back to that Rams 3.5. Also, I forgot to point out, Brandon Cooks and Robert Woods are active for this game. Okay, the Ram offense has really sputtered recently. McVay can't call the types of plays that he wants when he is shorthanded offensively. They've really grinded the last couple weeks. They scored 17 against the Bears. They scored 12 against the Steelers. And when Cooks and Woods are in the game, Woods has had some personal issues. It's not physical. He has some personal issues to attend to. Cooks is coming off a concussion. They both say they're going to play. They both practice this week. Their offense really opens up the playbook when they're all in the game. And that is a big difference when they're in there. Getting back to the lines here and why I think Baltimore is an absolute sell-high team here. They just got done beating. They whipped Seattle. They whipped the Patriots on national television. They beat the shit out of Cincinnati. They beat the shit out of Houston. The last 4 games, I mean, they are just crushing teams recently. And there are a sell-high spot. The Rams, they played Chicago. They gave up 7 to Chicago. They gave up 17 to Pittsburgh. They gave up 10 to Cincinnati. They gave up 10 to Atlanta. They gave up 20 to San Francisco. Their last 5 games, their defense has played really, really well. Now, you can say, well, Chicago has Trubisky. They suck. True. Pittsburgh has Mason Rudolph. They suck offensively. Yes. Cincinnati. Yeah, they suck too. Falcons, after they whipped them and gave up 10, the Falcons played some pretty good ball. And they also only allowed 20 to the Niners. So the Rams defense is playing really good ball. Now, I want to talk about this line. This line is -3 for the Ravens. So when you adjust for a neutral field, 3 points, you'd have the Ravens -6. And then if the Ravens were playing in Baltimore for this game, they would be -9. Okay, so Ravens are -3 at LA. You adjust 3 points, 2 or 3. I know the Rams don't have the greatest home field advantage. I think it's rated as a 2-point advantage on power. So let's call it 2 points. So they'd be a 5-point favorite on a neutral field, and they'd be an 8-point favorite at least at home because they have a very strong home field advantage. So let's say they'd be -8 or -9 in Baltimore, according to what this current line is. Now I'm gonna read off some past lines of games at Baltimore. When Houston went to Baltimore, they were about a 3.5, 4-point dog. When the Bengals played at Baltimore last week, or a couple weeks ago, they were 10.5. I'm just gonna get these real quick here, just a second, guys. Okay, so when Houston played, Baltimore was actually a 4-point, 3.5, 4-point favorite, -3.5, -4. That's what Houston was. Okay, and then the Bengals, I wrote these down. These are so incredulous to me. I just want to make sure I got the numbers right. Yeah, the Bengals were 10.5. Okay, the Bengals 10.5. And then when Cleveland played about a month ago, they were a 7-point favorite. Now, I know that was before the Ravens really got rolled. So let's take these last 2 weeks. Houston, Cincinnati. So you mean to tell me that the Rams are 5.5 points worse than Houston on a neutral field? Because that's what this line's telling you. Houston's -3.5, -4 in Baltimore. This line's telling you that the Rams will be -9. Do you really believe that? The Bengals. Okay, the Bengals 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. The Bengals were -10.5. -10.5. This line tells you that the Ravens would be, or not the Ravens, but the Rams would be -8, -9. Let's call it -8. Do you really think the Rams are 2.5 points better than the Bengals? Are you kidding me? When the Rams played the Bengals in London, which is a neutral field, the Rams were a 12.5 point favorite. 12.5 point favorite. But this line is telling you that there's a 2.5 point difference between these two teams. It makes absolutely no sense to me. I think this line is completely out of whack. I think this line should be closer to a pick at best. We can't make the Rams a favorite the way the Rams are playing, but there's just no way that the Rams should be a 3-point dog at home. Give me the Rams getting 3.5 points. Buy that hook. If it's too expensive, then take the 3, but I just think that the Rams are a phenomenal value in this game. All right, this is our playlist. Good morning. We have nothing but totals. Panthers, Saints under 47. Lions, Redskins under 41.5. Raiders and Jets first half over 23. Game over 46.5. Steelers, Bengals under 38.5. Bucks, Falcons under 51. One game in the afternoon. Dallas, Patriots under 45.5. I think that's like, there's only like 2 games in that afternoon slot. And we're going to be on that total. The Sunday night DGen special, the Packers get 3.5. And we're going to take the over 47.5. And then Monday night, we're going to take the Rams getting 3.5. Like I said, I bought the hook. The Ravens reduced 115, 120. To buy that hook on my book was 115. I thought that was well worth the price. I just think that line is ridiculous. So there are your 10 plays. All right, let's get to our best bets, our junior plays. All right, I didn't talk to Florida Pete. Try to get a hold of him, but I know he loves that system. He asks about it every freaking week. That system come up with the over where they haven't played each other in a long time? No, Pete, it hasn't. Next week, same thing. No, Pete, it hasn't. Well, this week it did. Raiders, Jets. It's been a while since that bastard's barked. It's been a month. He's been on good behavior. Now the neighbor dog's getting into it. We're going to take the Raiders and Jets over 46.5. Anytime I got a system that's undefeated, that hasn't lost, I'm going to roll with it until it does. Jets secondary is not very good. Raiders are banged up. Marcus Joyner's out. Carl Joseph's out. I think the Jets could do some things offensively. I think the Raiders could throw the ball. 46.5. The over. The Florida Pete Biz combo play this week is the Raiders and Jets going over the total of 46.5. All right. I was really torn between this under, between 2 pathetic offenses and that Ram game. I went with the Pittsburgh Cincinnati under 38.5 as the Biz best bet. I talked about it. The poor offenses, the backup quarterbacks, they both can't score. They both can't run the ball. Ton of unders this year, which means those fuckers will score over 50. But I'm going to take this Pittsburgh Cincinnati under. The Cincinnati really had trouble scoring in Pittsburgh on that Monday night game. The Steelers, they're without Juju Smith-Schuster, James Conner. Washington got a concussion last week. That was a really physical game with the Browns last Thursday. A lot of guys got hurt. Pouncey's out, the center. That's huge. I just don't think there's going to be a lot of scoring in this game. And if they score over 38.5, then God bless them, we lose. But I think this will be a grind of a game. 13-10 maybe, hopefully. Let's take that under Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, 38.5. That's what the Biz likes. Stewie, my man, says enough with the unders, man. You play so many freaking unders. You know what it's like to watch a game and just root for shit to not happen? It bores me to tears, man. I said, all right, what do you want? Just give me the over. Sunday night DGen special. Packers, Niners, over 47.5. I listed the reasons why. Lots of little mini trends and systems, team trends and systems. Adams is back. Kittle should be back. The weather's good. Niners missing some defenders. Niners defense has not played well last week as they've given up points. The Packers like to score when they come to the West Coast. I think this is going to be a lot of scoring in this game. I really like this over of 47.5. So let's take the Packers and the Niners to go over 47.5 as our Stewie best bet of the week. I do not have a BIZ Pete, Florida Pete, Stewie triple combo play, but if I did, it would be the Rams at 3.5. And I got to be honest, I might decide to give that out tomorrow or tonight as a best bet. I really like that play, but it, for whatever reason, didn't make the cut. So there's your two best bets. The under in Cincinnati and the over in San Francisco. All right. That is how you get a hold of me. If you want to send me a birthday present, email me. biz112763 at gmail.com. Twitter, BizWinners at BizWinners. I haven't put a whole lot of plays up on the BizWinners Twitter side. I kind of feel like if you want my plays before the video, then you can contact me, my distribution list. Those on my distribution list took two ridiculous beats again today on some college basketball. We're 2-2 instead of 4-0. We had one game where they had scored 41 points through 15 minutes. In the last 5 minutes, they scored 24 to beat us by a bucket. The other game, the guy throws up a brick at the buzzer. The guy gets an offensive rebound, dunks it. We lose by half a point. Just running so good in college basketball right now. But it will switch. It'll flip. Don't worry. But if you want the plays before they come out, a lot of these games this week, the lines moved. Totals moved a point or two. Like I said, hit me up. Get on my distribution list. There's really nothing to it. I'm not hitting you up for any spam or money. Or, like I said, I'm not going to ask you to buy somebody's Girl Scout cookies or donate money for a walkathon or whatever else. It's just a way to get the plays a little sooner than the other people. With my college football, I've been sending out on the email only. No more videos for that. It just takes too much time to do both with the volume of NCAA football. I'd rather just focus on the NFL on these videos. If you like it, put a thumbs up on that bar down below. A lot of subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing. Got 50, 60 subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button. You get an alert notification when a video comes out. And of course, as always, spread the word like Deli did with his crew. Tony. Actually, Tony, you got a hold of Rodney, not Mario. Mario's been with us for a couple months. Rodney just joined. Deli's crew joined. You know, people that like the NFL, that want to bet on some football. Tired of getting your eyes gouged out. Tired of saying, how the fuck did that game win? I can't believe they won. As you cash with one stinker after another. I tell you, there's nothing more satisfying than hitting the stinker of the week. I'm so disappointed I didn't have one this week. I just couldn't dig one up. I couldn't find a dog. There are a few teams. I looked at the Broncos, the Jaguars, the Giants would have been a stinker. I was really, really close to playing some of those teams. I just elected to pass. The Jets are another team that I looked at as a teaser. Raiders going to the East Coast off of 3 home games. But I decided to pass on the Giants. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Nobody really had stinker potential. To be a stinker, you got to be at least a touchdown dog. You can't be a 4-point dog and be a stinker. Even though you may stink as a team, stinker's got to be a line like double digits. At least a touchdown. So no stinkers this week. All right. That'll do it. Thank you, everybody, once again for hanging out, joining me for week 12. It's been a great year so far. Hope to keep this rolling. Everybody enjoy your weekends. Enjoy your Thanksgiving next week. If I have, I might put out a special Thanksgiving Day video. There's 3 games that night. I'll know when the lines come out Sunday night, Monday, if I will. If I do, be on the lookout for it. If you subscribe to the channel, then you obviously get an alert. But there's 3 games on that day, so hopefully we got some nice action on Thanksgiving. Next Thursday, the day after my 56th birthday. I love Thanksgiving. My mom used to cook a huge meal, pies, the whole 9 yards. The family come over, cousins, uncles, aunts. Great memories of Thanksgiving Day. We're having a small gathering at the house this year. Wherever you guys are on Thanksgiving, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving Day. Enjoy spending time with your friends and family. Enjoy watching football this weekend. Enjoy Mark Knopfler and his crew as they once again send us out of here. Guys, have a great day. Good luck with all your action. And I'll see you next week. Take care.
When he gets up under the lights to play his thing, and Harry doesn't mind if he doesn't make the scene. He's got a daytime job, he's doing alright. He can play the honky-tonk like anything, saving it up Friday night with the Sultans, with the Sultans of Swing. And a crowd of young boys, they're fooling around in the corner, best brown baggies in their platform soles. They don't give a damn about any trumpet playing band. It ain't what they call rock and roll. And the Sultans, yeah, the Sultans, they play Creole. And the man steps right up to the microphone and says at last, just as the time bell rings, good night, now it's time to go home. Then he makes it fast with one more thing. We are the Sultans. We are the Sultans.